So I did something I don't normally do. I went into Goodwill. It was Wednesday, yesterday, and next door to the Goodwill in the Plymouth, Minnesota location is a Fresh Time. And on Wednesdays, it's double ad day. And on Wednesdays at the Goodwill, it's senior day. So I combined the two. I did really, really well in the first 5 minutes. I left some things behind. I'm going to show you. I think I'm debating whether to go back. Maybe I just leave them for you if you're local. But I left a few things behind, and I know I did. I shouldn't have when I got home and looked at the footage. So let me show you what I got. So the first thing when I walked in, I went to the floral arrangement section, and right there tucked in was this Russian nesting doll, Matroshka. Have you been to the Museum of Russian Art in Minneapolis? It was part of that Doors Open Minneapolis event that they did last spring. That's amazing. I have sold Russian nesting dolls before. My mom had a set and I've picked up sets. So I grabbed that one right away. That one was a little mini set. So when I first started out, this was just in the first minute or so, I thought, well, everything looks a little picked over. So they in Minneapolis, they divide our rows by types, but that was like the wood aisle. Then there's like a metal aisle, but then rounded the corner and I saw this little cutie. Now, I don't know if I don't know everything about everything. Of course I don't. But what I look for are ethnic, handcrafted, unique, vintage, of course. I don't know what I'm doing when I walk in these stores. I really, really don't know what I'm doing, but I just keep an open mind. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. People talk about things that I never would have thought of. This was one of them, that kindergarten through 12th grade that they had way back when I was a little girl. I checked, the comps on all of the things. I also look, because I'm trying to resell it, I also just, it kind of becomes a little game with me when I'm here. I look for the things that the Goodwill perhaps missed. And I don't know what all of those things are, but I look for colorful, unique, handcrafted, and then I simply look for items that maybe I have seen other resellers pick up. If you're just starting out in reselling, I guess the best advice I could give you is take a whole day. Take a whole day, go up and down the aisles, anything that catches your eye, do a Google image search of it, look at those labels, just start learning. Take a lot of time and just spend it in a thrift store picking up random items that don't be surprised at the things that sell. Parts, uh, books, there in every aisle here in this thrift store, in every single aisle, there is money to be had. Now, I showed in the thumbnail that there was $118 worth of sales in the items that I found. I want to make sure you understand, okay, who's going to buy a trophy that's some other school, little school district, and someone's fourth place baseball trophy? They priced it kind of high. I just want to make sure you understand that is not what I take home. That is not what I make. Those little baby shoes, I have sold those gold baby shoes, but look, they price them each individually. These things are going to end up at the Goodwill outlet. They absolutely are, because who walks into the Goodwill store? I did a whole video last time on who does Goodwill think their buyer is. And if it's not me as a reseller and it's not you as a shopper for personal items, who are they marketing to? Who is their buyer? Did a whole video on that. So the things that, as I'm rounding the corner here, the things got better. The items got better. The shelves got more stacked. The third item that I picked up is right here. I've seen people sell them. I'm going to put a screenshot in of what these can go for. These are Christmas card or photo holders. But for that price, I took a chance on one that isn't the Dresden line. And I saw a simple one sold for $28 just a month ago. So as we get closer to the holidays, I think that was a good pickup. So again, if you're new and you're looking down this aisle of thing after thing after thing, you don't want to be a storage unit. You don't want to pick up everything. It's easy to pick up everything, but you have money that you're, putting out to get these things. I spent just over $14 on the 4 items that I bought. Again, I look for things that I may leave it behind just simply because there isn't any meat on the bone. Is that what you call it? I liked these glasses. I look for like mid-century, unique. Those went in my cart, but they came back out of my cart. There wasn't much profit to be had for that. In terms of glasses, I would typically like to get 4 versus 2. In the clear glass aisle, I have found Waterford. It takes a lot of time to turn over all of those pieces of glassware and look for that Waterford logo, but I have found Waterford mixed in at, $3.99 in the middle of all that clear glass. But that takes a commitment and time. But as you're growing and as you're learning how to flip items, just take a day, grab a cup of coffee, pack a lunch, spend the day there. If that's your thing and you want to start learning, I would just simply use the Google image search app and just start doing what I'm doing and flipping things over. When I flip it over, of course, first thing I'm looking is price, but then I'm looking for made in Japan. I'm looking for makers that I know of and have heard of before. I look for things that are stone, things that are handcrafted, things that are ethnic, things that are vintage. Other things I look for, mid-century modern. I look for ceramic or stoneware. I look for crystal. I look at brass or bronze or copper, pewter, lucite and acrylic, bakelite, handcrafted. This was awfully cute. She was adorable. She was cross-stitched and someone put an awful lot of work into her. I thought she was adorable. I left her behind. But uh, I look at wicker, rattan. I'm just giving you some buzzwords of things maybe as you're going up and down the aisles. Take a look for those types of items. That's the type of thing that I have found throughout the years that has brought me the most profit. There are style and era keywords. Vintage is commonly 20 plus years old, but if you're going to call something an antique, it usually means that's 100 plus years old. So when you're listing something, keep that in mind. Vintage is 20 plus years, antique 100 plus years. So retro, art deco, mid-century modern, bohemian, cottage, farm, rustic, minimalist. Those are all the words that come to mind. And when I'm just scouring and go down on that bottom row, those, not everyone's looking where I'm looking. Everyone's looking in the middle of the pack. But I have found some treasures. If you get down on that bottom row and take a peek, that's where the items go. And don't get searched and turned over and looked at as much is down on that bottom row. So I have found some true gems down there. And for me personally, my favorite way to shop, and I've talked about this a lot, is at a church rummage fill-a-bag sale. That is my absolute favorite. I've found some wonderful treasures that have been left behind on the last day, and I don't have as much inventory money spent on my inventory because we become a storage unit and we're waiting and waiting and waiting for that right buyer to come along. Sometimes, you just make bad purchases. What I can tell you about that and what I have done is in the clothing, I will either donate it back, I will recycle it. We have a textile bin, recycling bin in a grocery store parking lot very close to me. If I've made a bad purchase in in my clothing items, that's where it goes. I've donated things back to the Goodwill that just wouldn't sell for me, but it just wouldn't sell for me. There's a value there. And then another thing I've also done is take it to a consignment store. And if we ever were to move and ever needed to offload this inventory that I have, if we choose to downsize down the road and move, and I don't have the type of space that I have here, I would bring all of this hard goods, all of the hard goods that I have collected, to a consignment store and let them try and sell it for me. That's not a bad option. Even if you want to use that as your business model, even if you want to just pick things up at the Goodwill bins or a church fill a bag sale and not be the middleman. That's another reselling business option that you could explore. You could wash them all up. I would absolutely tell you to wash everything up that you're going to resell, whether it's at the consignment store or personally. That clothing has been through a lot sitting in that bin or sitting on that shelf. I wash everything and clean everything up and bring it to a consignment store. They're going to take their cut. They deserve to take their cut. They're a reseller, just like me taking my cut. I'm a personal shopper. So that's okay. If you want to use that as your business model, whether to downsize or just truly just do reselling that way, think about if you have a consignment store close by. So you can see the prices are all over the board. Some things are priced really kind of outrageous, especially those things that come in twos, like the candlesticks and the bookends. They're pricing them individually instead of pricing them as a set. And that will, in my opinion, drive most people away from being able to afford that pair of items. So what I wish would start to happen is that they would bundle them up. I think Savers is much, much better at that, bundling things together that belong together. I've seen at Savers where there are 4 plates for a certain amount, 4 glasses for a certain amount. Much better pricing structure at Savers, in my opinion. Now, I'm not as close to a Savers as I am to several Goodwills. I have 3 or 4 that are really close in distance to me that I could get to at any point. And like I had shared, I will go to the church fill a bag sales for as long as I can. And then when I come back to shopping at the Goodwill, I will 99.9% of the time choose to go to the Goodwill bins. I'm again very fortunate. I have 2 of them close enough by me. One is in Cheska, Minnesota. The other is in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. But I have heard from other resellers that I watch, some local resellers, that the pricing and what's going on there isn't really the same as it used to be either. So it's been several months since I've been to the Goodwill bins. So back at the shelving that I'm just finishing up here, and I'm back at the shelving where I think I made a mistake, starting with this little pink bowl in the corner, which actually was marked as chipped. I think this one went along with some other pieces that I'm going to share and show you. And if you see other things on the shelf that I missed, I'm sure that I did. If you see them, you be sure and tell me in the comments if you would, because I actually do love learning from all of you as well. You know these things better, just as well and better than I do. So I know today there were some items that I left behind that could have definitely gone into a reseller's dream basket. But I don't need all of it. I don't need everything. So I wanted to show you what it was like. I think a lot of you like to see, and here it is, like to see what the other Goodwill stores offer. This is a stunning set. And when I ran a comp on it, it did go for a lot. And I'm not going to go back and get it. I decided not to go back and get it. I want you to get it if you want it. I'll pop up some screenshots of what these beauties sell for. I do like to kind of put things back together. So if I see it, but that is a true gem that I left behind. So this is just a flavor of what it's like. This is the last thing that I picked up. She didn't have a stopper in her, but oh, I thought she was cute. That is Hobnail. It's made by Lefton. I'm going to go on Amazon, and I have several pieces right now waiting to be listed that need stoppers in them, the cork kind. So I'm going to see if I can get a random packet of just different size stoppers. Okay, this St. Joseph statue, when we sold our house the last time, I bought it and I still have one. You're supposed to put it in your yard and help with your home to be able to sell. I did that and my home sold. It had not been selling. It had been on the market for a long time, and someone told me about that St. Joseph statue. So look into that if you're in the market to sell your home. But the last time we moved 30 years ago, someone told me about that. I hadn't seen it in 30 years. So this is just to end here. This is what our Goodwill store looks like. We have snacks at ours. And I'm going to do a little panoramic view. It's clean, it's lovely, it's stacked with items. If you're in the area, come by and check the store out.